Welcome everyone to today's webinar, Maximize Efficiency with Cloudbyz EDC for Phase 1 trials, and thank you for joining us today. It's great to see so many of you here, excited to dive into the details of early phase trials. We all recognize how crucial these initial stages are in drug development process, where precision and speed and data integrity play pivotal roles. But what if I told you that there's an easier way to elevate these trials even further? Today, we're here to discuss how you can do just that by leveraging Cloudbyz electronic data capture. We'll go over some brief housekeeping for this session. The session is recorded and everyone is muted. If you have any questions, you can use the Q&A section to ask, and a recording of this webinar will be posted on our website and emailed to everyone that signed up. We can now go into our agenda. Let's start by considering a few industry insights. Data management challenges are often cited as a significant factor in delaying clinical trials. For early phase trials where timelines are especially tight, this can present unique challenges. Moreover, embracing advanced EDC systems like Cloudbyz can help reduce the common pitfalls associated with traditional methods, providing a more streamlined and accurate approach to data capture and analysis. But it's not just about overcoming obstacles. The ability to capture and analyze real-time data can provide critical insight, enabling more informed decisions that can make all the difference within your trial's success. So what is the key to achieving this? In today's session, we'll explore how Cloudbyz EDC can enhance your early phase trials through improved workflows, robust data management, and strong compliance, all within a platform that's designed to be intuitive and efficient. We're extremely excited to show you how Cloudbyz EDC is reshaping the landscape of early phase trials, helping you optimize efficiency, improve data quality, and accelerate your path to success. So without further ado, we can dive into our plan for today. The session will flow with the start of the introduction of our speakers and an overview of Cloudbyz. We'll then get into today's topics and wrap up with a product demo and Q&A. I can now introduce our speakers for today. We have Vade, our product manager at Cloudbyz with 6 years of experience in the product and clinical trial industry. Tanir, our life science solutions manager at Cloudbyz with 8 years in the industry. And I'm Megan, your host and coordinator for today. We can now move into a little bit more about Cloudbyz. Cloudbyz eClinical is a rapidly growing unified clinical trial management solution. It's built entirely on Salesforce and offers scalability, flexibility, and configurability to fit your needs. Our solution supports companies of all sizes, from Fortune 500 firms to nimble startups, helping them conduct trials efficiently and bring therapies to the market faster. We operate globally from our headquarters in Chicago, USA, with an additional office in Toronto, Canada, and an offshore center in Bangalore, India, allowing us to serve in any time zone. Here's a quick overview of our eClinical platform. Our flagship CTMS manages clinical trials from start to finish. Our CTBM handles financial and budget management. Our ETMF is our document management tool. And our EDC, which we'll focus on today, is our data management product. Our safety and pharmacovigilance product manages trial safety and post-marketing pharmacovigilance. We also recently launched Clinical Wave AI featuring ClinRedact, ClinExtract, and ClinDicom, which uses AI to handle sensitive information across trial documents and images. All of our products integrate seamlessly with other systems. For more details, you can visit our website, cloudbyz.com, cloudbyz.com, or you can email us at info@cloudbyz.com to book a demo.
Sure. Thank you, Megan, for setting the stage with the introductions about Cloudbyz and our products. I would now like to take the discussion forward by talking about phase 1 trials, or our early phase trials as we also call it, and discuss about the various trial design types of phase 1 trials, the unique challenges faced during the conduct of such trials. We will then have a focused discussion on the PKPD analysis, which, as you would all know, is an integral part of early phase trials. And then finally, we will shift our focus to modern day EDC systems like Cloudbyz EDC and how they are paving the way for streamlined early phase trial conduct. Okay, so we'll start by exploring the different types of early phase trial designs, which form the very foundation of bringing new treatments from lab to the clinic. So we have multiple design types. There is the single ascending dose, or popularly referred to as SAD, where a single dose of a drug is administered to a small group of subjects, typically healthy volunteers, and then it is gradually increased to assess the safety and the pharmacokinetical properties. This eventual goal is to determine the maximum tolerated dose of this drug. Next up, we have MAD or multiple ascending dose, where subjects receive multiple doses over a period of time, which allows the investigators to evaluate not only safety and tolerability of the drug, but also how the drug behaves in the body over time. You you will be able to know from this particular trial, the accumulation of the drug and various other steady state PK parameters that are also tracked. Then we have the food effect trials, where the investigator assesses the impact of food on the drug's absorption and bioavailability. This is important from the perspective of ensuring consistent therapeutic efficacy under different meal conditions or dietary conditions, like determining whether the drug should be taken with or without food, the timing of the drug, with relative to the meals which are being taken as well. Up fourth, we have the drug to drug interaction studies, where we focus on understanding how the investigational drug interacts with other drugs, whether it increases or decreases their effectiveness, or perhaps alters their safety profile as well. Now, I do actually have a slide that goes into details of each of these individual trial designs, but just in order to set an initial context, I would like to list down all the design types here in this first slide. Okay, getting back, then finally we have the bioequivalence or the bioavailability studies, or what we call typically referred to as the BABE studies, done mostly on generics and reformulations of innovator drugs. In these studies, we compared the bioavailability of a generic drug to that of a reference innovator drug, ensuring that they produce similar levels of efficacy in the bloodstream and have equivalent therapeutic effects. Okay, so with that, we move to our next slide, where we focus on each of these individual design types, looking into the different types of molecules that are usually the candidates for each of these trial types, typical study durations, objectives of each trial, and a brief overview of the analysis conducted for each of these. So, SAD or single ascending dose, well, this is typically conducted on small molecules and biologics. The average duration usually lasts between 1 to 2 weeks, depending on the candidate drug's characteristics and how the participants respond to the administered doses. Objectives, the primary goal is to assess the safety and the tolerability of the drug when administered as a single dose. Additionally, SAD studies are crucial for determining the pharmacokinetic properties, effectively the ADME parameters, how the drug is absorbed, distributed, metabolized, and excreted from the body. Another key objective is also to identify the maximum tolerated dose. In terms of analysis, for SAD studies, detailed PK analysis is performed to understand the dose response relationship. Continuous monitoring of adverse events and serious adverse events are also critical and form an integral part, to understand the patient safety when conducting these trials. The next step is multiple ascending dose, typically, again done on small molecules and biologics with a particular focus on recombinant proteins. The average duration for for MAD studies are slightly longer than the SAD studies, typically lasting for about 2 to 4 weeks. The objectives on which these studies are run are to typically evaluate the safety, tolerability, and the PK profile of a drug when administered in multiple doses over a specific period. These studies also determine the drug's accumulation ratio, which is how much of the drug accumulates in the body over time when given in multiple doses, and the time required for each of these doses to reach the steady state level. Finally, the analysis done is to focus on the assessment of cumulative toxicity and the steady state PK parameters. Third up is the drug to drug interaction studies, which is again done mostly on small molecules and biologics. DDI studies typically last from a period of 2 to 4 weeks. The objectives for DDI studies again, include assessment of effect of concomitant drugs on the pharmacokinetics of the candidate investigational drug. Now, this includes understanding how how the enzyme induction or inhibition might alter the drug's metabolism and clearance within the body. Another very key objective, which is also evaluated, is the safety and tolerability when two drugs are administered together. Analysis, so now PK analysis is again conducted to identify potential interactions such as the chances in the drug's overall exposure in the body, which we also refer to as AUC, or area under the curve, or the drug's clearance rate, which also indicates how quickly the drug is eliminated from the body. Now, by comparing these metrics before and after the introduction of a second drug, researchers are able to determine if there are significant interactions that could affect the drug's efficacy or safety. We then have the BABE studies, typically conducted on generics or reformulated drugs of innovator molecules. The average duration of these studies are from 2 to 4 weeks. The primary objective is to compare the bioavailability of a generic drug with that of the reference drug, ensuring that they are bioequivalent within the regulatory limits. Another key objective is to assess the bioavailability of a new drug formulation compared to the original formulation. In BABE studies, the analysis is for the pharmacokinetic properties, which plays a crucial role in confirming the bioequivalence within the regulatory limits. This analysis involves measuring key parameters such as the maximum concentration of the drug in the blood, the time it takes to reach this concentration, and the drug's overall exposure in the body. These parameters are then compared between the test and the reference formulations. So, and again, this type of studies, they also involve some amount of statistical testing, which is done to ensure that there is no significant difference in the systemic exposure between these two formulations as well. Finally, we have the food effect studies, which are typically conducted on oral drugs, including tablets and capsules. The average duration is generally from 1 to 2 weeks, and the objective is to assess how food intake affects the absorption and the bioavailability of the drug. This is crucial for determining the optimal administration guidelines, such as whether the drug should be taken on an empty stomach or with food. The analysis for these type of studies include PK parameters, which are compared between the fastest state of the individual and the fed state. The study also analyzes the impact of food on overall drug exposure. Often, a crossover design is also used where the volunteers might alternate between the faster and the fed states, which help in minimizing the inter-subject variability as well. Okay, so with that, we move to the next slide that talks about what are the typical challenges faced by researchers, while they're conducting such phase 1 trials. So now, as we all know, early phase clinical trials come with its own set of nuances, which can significantly impact the timeline and the costs of drug development. Let's spend the next few minutes in discussing these challenges and how e-clinical solutions can help in this regard. So number one, we have high risk of adverse reactions. Well, in early phase trials, researchers face the dual challenge of managing the risk of adverse reactions as well as the handling of increased volume and complexity of data. Now, these trials, since they are often conducted, first in human, like they're often conducted and involve first in human studies, the risk of adverse reactions is significantly higher due to the limited prior knowledge of the drug's effect in humans. This therefore necessitates intense monitoring and the capability for rapid responses to ensure participant safety. Simultaneously, many of the modern early phase trials do generate vast amounts of complex data, which are driven by complicated and advanced drug development processes. Well, that in fact, requires, even more detailed data collection and real-time analysis as well. The combination of these challenges underscore the critical need for a robust EDC system with real-time safety monitoring features, adaptive designs, and advanced data processing capabilities. Now, when studies have ED systems in place, they can, when studies have such ED systems in place which has these characteristics, they can promptly detect adverse events, allow immediate adjustments to the study protocol, as well as handle large volumes of data. Up next is difficulty in recruiting participants. Now, recruiting participants for early phase trials can be particularly challenging due to the strict inclusion criteria and the potential risks that inherently come along with being by being part of first in human study. Additionally, there is also the case of risk aversion from participants of such trials, which also adds to the complications. Now, to address this, e-clinical systems should be easily be able to integrate with various other systems like EHRs or electronic health records and patient registries, so that they can streamline the recruitment process at the right start of the trial. Apart from this, integrating with automated marketing tools like SFMC or Salesforce Marketing Cloud will also help, these modern day clinical systems or ED systems in a way where they can enhance the engagement and the retention by maintaining communication with potential as well as enrolled patients or participants, ensure that they are well informed and comfortable throughout the trial. Point three is ensuring informed consent at an ongoing basis. Well, as we are all aware, informed consent is truly a very critical component of clinical trials, both from a safety, an ethical, and a compliance perspective. It is imperative that ongoing consent is maintained, particularly for early phase studies, where completely new safety information may emerge as the trial moves forward. Here as well, e-clinical systems can play a vital role by implementing comprehensive and ongoing informed consent processes. E-consent forms enabled with multimedia content can educate the participants and volunteers so that they understand the trial's risks and benefits before they sign up for it. And frequent check-ins for consent can also ensure that the consent taken is truly informed and sustained throughout the trial. Up next is variability in drug response. Well, variability in drug response, which is again a very common challenge in early phase trials, where differences occur between how each participant metabolizes and responds to the drug. And this further adds to the complicating the dose determination of the drug, which is being tested. Now, this variability can arise due to multiple reasons like genetic differences between the participants, different disease states, or concurrent or concomitant medications which might be different for each of the participants in the trial. And to manage this, e-clinical ED systems should be able to monitor should be able to monitor PKPD data in real time. Additionally, machine learning and advanced analytics can also help in personalizing these dosing strategies based on the real-time data from the trials. The fifth point deals with data integrity challenges with stringent regulatory guidelines. Well, as you would all know, early phase trials are subject to stringent regulatory requirements, particularly concerning data integrity and compliance with guidelines such as 21 CFR Part 11, HIPAA, and others. Now, these regulations require meticulous record keeping over many years, comprehensive and robust audit trails, and data validation to ensure the integrity of the trial's collected data. E-clinical ED systems with built-in compliance features such as automatic audit trails and real-time validation logic are indispensable in this regard for maintaining regulatory adherence. These features also help to ensure that the data changes are tracked and the trials can withstand rigorous regulatory scrutiny. The sixth point deals with complex logistics for drug handling and storage. So, logistics involved in handling and storage as well as administering the investigational drugs during phase 1's trials can indeed be quite complex. Now, these trials often require very precise management of small batches of drugs under stringent conditions across the entire supply chain. Additionally, coordinating drug supplies across multiple sites and ensuring that all sites adhere to the same protocols can also be logistically quite challenging. Integrated trial supply management capabilities within these e-clinical systems can significantly streamline such logistical issues. They help in managing drug supplies, ensuring that they are handled, stored, and administered according to the protocol across all sites. Moreover, virtual or hybrid trial capabilities reduce the need for specialized facilities by enabling remote monitoring and the management of drug administration. Point seven is the need to progress quickly while ensuring thorough safety evaluations. Well, in phase 1 trials, the safety of participants is paramount. However, there is often pressure to progress quickly, especially when the trial involves potentially life saving therapies. Traditional systems often lack the capability to provide real time alerts when lab results indicate potential safety issues, which can lead to delays in the response and increased risk to participants. Now, to tackle such scenarios, adaptive trial designs with interim analysis and safety reviews are essential. Here, ED systems can facilitate these adaptive designs by providing real time data analytics and monitoring tools that allow for swift adjustments to the trial protocol based on the emerging safety data. Now, this approach helps us to ensure that the participant safety is maintained without any unnecessary delays in the overall conduct of the trials. Up next is diverse stakeholder expectations with uncertainty in trial outcomes, which is also a final challenge, for phase 1 trials in this slide. So early phase trials also, oftentimes involve a wide range of stakeholders, including sponsors, investigators, regulatory bodies, and patients. And in each group comes with its own set of expectations and uncertainty inherent in phase one trials, which also makes it difficult to align to these expectations. Now, miscommunications or lack of transparency can lead to misunderstandings and also hinder the trial's progress. So, in this case, you will need e-clinical systems with comprehensive reporting and communication tools for managing this transparency and keeping all stakeholders informed in real time. These tools allow for regular updates to the trial's progress, ensuring that everyone involved is on the same page. Transparent communications helps manage expectations and builds trust among stakeholders, which is particularly important in trials with uncertain outcomes, such as phase one trials. Okay, so with that, we move to our next slide. And with this slide, I will, also end the industry analysis. Following which, I will hand it over to Ved, who will take up the discussion about our Cloudbyz EDC and its impacts in terms of making clinical trials more streamlined. So in this slide, we put some special focus on pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamic properties, which are one of the main assessment areas of early phase trials. Before I begin, just a quick recap. PK is understanding, or PK or pharmacokinetics is understanding how the drug behaves in the body, effectively how the drug is absorbed, dissolved, and metabolizes in the body before being finally removed from our system or excreted from our system. Similarly, PD is, or pharmacodynamics, is how the body reacts with the drug. The aim is to determine the efficacy and the safety of the drug for a particular dosage. Okay, so now let's explore the factors that impact the PKPD analysis and how technology can help overcome these challenges. So the factors that can, that cause variability in the results of PKPD analysis include product formulations. Well, the formulation of a drug can significantly impact its PKPD analysis or the PKPD profile. For instance, the size of the drug particles, the presence of excipients, and in fact, the overall formulation can also alter the absorption rates and the bioavailability value of the drug. Differences in absorption and distribution based on the formulation of the drug can also lead to variability in the PKPD profile as well. Next up, administration route. The route of administration, whether it's oral or intravenous, can also affect the PKPD profile, with each route presenting its own set of challenges. For example, oral administration may be influenced by first pass metabolism in the liver, while IV administration bypasses this process but requires precise dosing control as well. Standardizing the PK profiles across various administration routes is challenging, but is also critical for ensuring the consistent drug delivery and the efficacy of the drug. Point three is organ dysfunction. Well, organ dysfunction, particularly in livers and kidneys, can also lead to complications in the PKPD analysis due to the altered metabolism and the excretion. For example, impaired liver functions can lead to slower drug metabolism, increasing the risk of toxicity within the body. Similarly, kidney dysfunction can also affect drug clearance, leading to accumulation and potential adverse effects. The fourth factor is disease state. The presence of disease state can also lead to alteration of the pharmacokinetics of a drug, complicating predictions of how the drug will behave with the patient. For instance, inflammation or infections can impact drug distribution and metabolism, leading to unexpected PKPD outcomes. The fifth factor is concomitant medications, which interact with the investigational drug, leading to changes in the PKPD profile. These interactions can enhance or inhibit the drug's effects, leading to unexpected efficacy or safety outcomes. Point six is the patient size and physiological differences. Well, variability in the patient size, weight, and other physiological parameters can lead to differences in the drug's exposure and responses. For example, a drug dose that is effective in a physiologically smaller individual may be insufficient or even excessive in a physiologically larger individual. Variability in the PKPD responses is the final factor. And finally, significant inter-individual variability also complicates dosing regimen identification and interpretation of the trial results. This variability can arise from genetic differences, environmental factors, or even concurrent health conditions. Okay, so now that we have looked at the factors that may cause variations in the analysis of PKPD data in early phase trials, let's also look at the solution elements. How technology in the form of advanced e-clinical platforms like Cloudbyz can help in resolving these issues. Well, new age e-clinical platforms are designed to support such dynamic needs of early phase trials by enabling real-time data collection and analysis. These platforms come with open APIs that allow them to seamlessly integrate data from various other sources, including wearables and health devices, which thereby provide continuous biomarker monitoring and ensures that the changes in PKPD profile are promptly detected as soon as they occur during the trial. Additionally, with inbuilt analytics features, these platforms also provide the flexibility to adapt trial designs based on the emerging data, allowing for immediate adjustments to dosing or patient stratification. And in this integrated approach, not only accelerates the decision making, but also enhances the accuracy and the reliability of the PKPD analysis, which is done. In addition to these clinical platforms, statistical modeling also contributes by providing predictive and population based analytics. These models help simulate the drug behavior, integrate various data types, and assess potential outcomes across diverse patient groups, enhancing the overall understanding of the PKPD profiles. Okay, so with that, I come to the end of our industry analysis segment, and I would now hand it over to Ved to take it forward with with a brief overview of our product, the Cloudbyz EDC, and then proceed to the demo of our system. Thank you, guys. Over to you, Ved.
Thank you, Tunil. That was such an amazing insight. Now it's time to dive into Cloudbyz EDC and explore why it stands out as one-stop solution for all your clinical trial needs. Now, the first slide focuses mostly on the EDC and in general, right? So as you can see, at the heart of our Cloudbyz EDC is focus on patient and investigator centricity and engagement. And our system is designed to make their experience as seamless and efficient as possible. With streamlined data collection processes, our platform allows for smooth data entry, whether through direct data collection or integration with wearable devices and health apps, which we also support, by the way. This ensures that data is not only accurate, but also up to date, providing real-time visibility into your trial progress, which is, well, pretty important, right? Again, like it gives you accessible clinical data with real-time visibility, which I just spoke about. We have amazing dashboard and reports and capabilities to build that to ensure that you get the immediate insight into your study, allowing you to make informed decisions quickly. When it comes to seamless collaboration, our system connects all the stakeholders, whether they are data managers, CRAs, site coordinators, at the sponsor level, ensuring that everyone is on the same page. The connectivity helps in minimizing delays and accelerating study timelines, which is crucial, as you know. Safety oversight is another key aspect. We'll talk more about it in the next slide. But our system ensures that safety events are captured and monitored rigorously to provide a complete picture. And the system obviously support intelligent metrics, as I spoke about, tracking and being up to date. At the core of the system, we have these features, wonderful features. As I was talking about safety oversight, intelligent metrics, direct data collection, we do have interactive electronic consent, which makes allowing subjects to provide consent electronically a breeze, literally, which not only speeds up the process, but also ensures compliance and reduces paperwork. Finally, query management and enhanced data authenticity and security are central to our platform. Our system provides tools to manage data queries effectively, ensures your data is protected with highest standards of security. We'll talk more about it. We'll see some of the features in action in just a few minutes, but moving to the next slide quickly. This is where we specifically talk about, and this demo, by the way, is focused to provide you how Cloudbyz EDC can optimize early phase trials and special features which makes it suited for early phase trials. Now, early indication of results is crucial in the early phase trial or phase 1 trial. And with real-time dashboards, you can quickly identify trends and potential issues as soon as they arise. Our device agnostic EDC ensures access. As a monitor, you can see your data from any device, whether you're in office, at a site, or on the go, or any other person for that sake. And with automated real-time alerts and notification, you will always be in the loop about critical development, allowing for rapid decision-making. Regulatory compliance and data integrity, are non-negotiable, obviously. And this is where Cloudbyz EDC is fully compliant with FDA, HIPAA, EMEA, and any other regulatory bodies. We offer enhanced field audit trial and inbuilt source data verification, ensuring every data point is traceable and verifiable. Additionally, our data encryption during transit guarantees your sensitive information remains secure throughout the trial. When it comes to complexity of data collection and integration, early phase trials often obviously involve complex and varied data types. Our Cloudbyz EDC supports that and actually simplifies this with an inbuilt form library and a form builder tool, allowing you to customize data collection to meet specific needs of your trial and your specific study. Integrations with variables and IoT devices is a functionality we provide. And for example, a biomarker data is seamlessly collected using these devices, ensuring that the most advanced data collection methods are supported. Finally, as we move from early phase to next phases, and we obviously scale from small to large scale trials, the system seamlessly enables that transition and can help you scale at your needs. Okay, now, with that overview in mind, let's move to the Cloudbyz EDC. Now, as I was saying, right, phase 1 trials, unlike later phases, sometimes, often involves smaller sample sizes, typically 20 to 100 subjects, but generates dense data due to frequent sampling and intensive monitoring. And then we're going to see how the platform supports that. First thing first, our platform is unified, which means in the same instance, you have CTMS, ETMF, EDC, well, we're going to see that, safety, pharmacovigilance, etc. Right? Now, the interconnectedness is something I wanted to quickly talk about before we just look at the EDC. Is interconnectedness is important because having things in the same platform, especially for phase 1 trial where safety monitoring is a top priority, is extremely important. The system makes sure that transitioning seamlessly from EDC, where data is collected, to the safety application where adverse events are managed, and something that you can manage without any issues. This approach minimizes data silos, enhances consistency, and streamlines communication, enabling quick response time and more coordinated safety monitoring, which is a key factor for success and safety of the early phase trial. Well, for this demo, we'll focus only on EDC and how it meets the unique needs of your phase 1 trial. Now, I'll be showing you the system from the perspective of an internal user, could be a CRA, clinical monitor, data manager, well, whoever you are, right? So as you log in, you will notice a user-friendly interface. You will see on the top some of the tabs that can be configured based on user role and could be relevant to your clinical trial. Global search right on the top allows you to search pretty much anything that you want to find in the system. It could be a specific study, site, subject, well, anything else. Dashboard gives you an overview of how your clinical trial is going, and it is configurable by profile and user role, which means if you plan to track some of the metrics versus your colleague wants to track a different metrics, we can set that up very easily. Now, for instance, this dashboard shows subject status by study, which allows you to see at a glance where each subject is in the study life cycle, whether they are in screening, enrolled, randomized, or completed. This level of detail is essential in phase 1 trials where subject monitoring is intensive and every status change is very critical. Moving down, we have, for example, protocol deviation by study by class, which categorizes by major minor classifications. We can also track, as I scroll down, we can also track adverse event by site bar chart and adverse event by status pie chart, which are key for tracking participant safety. For instance, by analyzing SAE and adverse event in conjunction with what Tunir mentioned about PKPD, you can determine if there is a correlation between drug concentration level and the onset of adverse event. Well, this insight is critical for adjusting dosage strategies and ensuring participant safety, which is paramount concern in early phase trial. Now, mind you, this is an example of reports we can track. We actually have 80% build reports and dashboard that comes with the system, and you can build your own reports without any coding experience. That's a great feature for a lot of our customers. Now, you also have something called subscriptions for dashboard within Cloudbyz EDC. Again, in the early phase trials, timely access to data is critical. Apologies, my internet is not the friendliest today, but data is critical. These trials often need rapid decision making, and ability to set up automated subscriptions for dashboard and reports means that you can get the most current data delivered directly to your inbox without delay. Sorry for that. Let me refresh because my internet has not been friendliest, as I said. Right. But there you go. So you can get these dashboard delivered to your email daily, weekly, monthly, and you can define days, time. You can actually add your colleagues who can also get the subscriptions to their emails at your set timings. And as you can see, you can also download this dashboard and share it externally. So pretty much all the flexibility that you need with the reporting. On the right, you see items to approve. So any items which is pending your approval can be tracked. Some of the widgets that I wanted to show you. My task, and these are my tasks to be done today, or it could be due tomorrow, it could be due next month. I can track all my tasks. And if I had any tasks today or today's events. Now, let's head into clinical study. So I can view my clinical studies which are in the system, and the great part is you don't have to really have multiple login, which is a pain a lot of time, right? All the studies can be managed in one instance, and each study has its own setup, which means you can meet the unique needs of your each study without having to switch between multiple systems. Well, I'm talking about not even switching systems for safety and CTMS, but for EDC, you don't have to, even for EDC, especially I know that sometimes there are multiple logins that you have to get to. You can avoid that. Now, for this demo, we wanted to look at phase 1 studies. So you can see a list view for phase 1. But that being said, I can have I can have these studies set up by statuses, therapeutic areas, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, pretty much anything that you can imagine, you can slice that data. These are all my phase 1 studies in the system. And for the purpose of this demo, we're going to look at an existing study, which is this. Now, we are in the study page, and details is where you can see all your relevant information about the study. So you can see information, description, etc., pretty much anything that you want to track coming from a protocol. So we spoke about it a lot of times, but the data collection in the phase 1 trial especially is dense and needs to be monitored in real time. Our system handles this seamlessly. You can drill down from a study level to a site. Now this is a study, and then these are the sites. I can drill down into a site. And then I can drill down into a subject and see all their visits, their forms, their ECOAs, if any, etc., etc. Now, this is one of the tree view, but we also have multiple other views, such as list view, where you can see subjects, their statuses, data statuses, and any queries awaiting the response. This view, again, is highly configurable. We also have matrix view, which you can also make use of. Our query, we also have a query management module, which allows data managers to filter and view open queries, which is a very important part of their day, obviously. And you can see queries such as stores related to adverse event or out of range lab results. You can apply various filters to manage and deal with those queries, such as by site, and you can also have filters based on the query status, as you can see. This is where you can do it by site, subject, queries, etc. Planning. So planning is where you can include your study teams. You can include your study arms and cohorts and study setup. Now, the study team is pretty important because it helps you dictate what users have access to see the study data being collected. So obviously, a study team member can be involved in multiple studies, and you would want them to see the studies they're involved in. So this is where you can actually define their role and control access to which study they can see the data in. Very important, right? Study arms and cohorts, you can obviously add multiple study arms, cohorts, and our system supports any kind of complexity around that. And the study setup, which is the champion feature. and one of my favorite feature in the system. Study setup is core of Cloudbyz EDC and contains all the required thing you can imagine, such as form building, permissions, rules, data variables, more. Well, it is built to make sure that you have unique needs of your study met, if I may say in that sense. Now, this is a study setup page, record page, you can name it as you want. Details allow you to see important specific parameters that are relevant to your study. Again, this is study specific setup, which means this is tailored for each study, and this has been built keeping in mind how unique each study is. So you can see some of the information in related. You can choose signature authentication method. For example, it is user login authentication, but we can also have one-time password and OTP instead of that. And then you can house in some of the information about this particular study that might be relevant and uniquely tailored. You can define site parameters, subject parameters, such as subject number schema, if you want to follow a certain schema for subject numbering. If you want to include any screening, baseline visit plan, we can also include visit plan right here. So obviously, you would want to link your visit plan to a specific study, and this is where you link it. And then you can also define some visit plan parameters, some forms and data review parameters, some query parameters, your signature parameters. And then you can also have your unique form statuses, subject statuses, and data statuses unique to a study. Now, as I was saying, and then you can define roles and permissions, who can see what, even within this study. So it can be as detailed as you would like to, which is, we understand, is very important while setting up a study. Yes, moving on to forms builder. This is where we build forms like adverse event forms, protocol deviation, medical history, etc. These forms might not be required to be directly linked to a specific visit, but we also have ECRF builder, which is used to build forms that are for capturing the data from visit-based procedures and assessments like vital signs, physical examination, and we obviously need to link visit plan with these forms. You can see a small button here to link the visit plan. This is where you can link the visit plan with each ECRF form that you're trying to build. Coming back to the builder. A bit, so obviously we have a lot of webinars and a lot of videos on how the form building works. I want to quickly go over it and then move to the important aspect of how early phase trials come into picture when it comes to form building, and especially versioning is something I want to get into as soon as possible. But obviously, when you create a new ECRF, you can start by adding forms, which is initially in the draft mode. We do have this functionality for import, and we do have something called forms library, which I'm going to get into shortly. But you can actually import an existing form, which can come up with some of the existing fields, sections, and then you can obviously edit this for your specific study. Right. So in this case, we are seeing some of the forms details. We can see null flavors, which allow you to define null values for specific fields to ensure data completeness. You can see auto numbering options, which can obviously generate unique IDs for forms and field. Testing mode, which is checked here, allows you to test while UAT environment. So that is something when you're setting up the form, you can use it. There's scoring, etc., etc. Now, this is the section which has been defined, and I'm going to expand a field and click on the edit. So this is where you actually set up a particular field within that ECRF. So you can see the name for this field on the right, response type. So we support over 25 plus different response type. And as I click on this drop down, you can see right now it was pick list, but yeah, pretty much flexible to choose anything. File upload and signature, content card, media, table. It's comprehensive. And in terms of responses as well, just like the forms library, we also have something called standard response set, which is like response library. So either you can select, you can add a new response, or you can select from the standard response set libraries where you can just pick a response and it would be added to this field. Now, scrolling down, there are some functions where you can define if the field is required, it has to be blinded. If there's any changes that you make on this field, it has to be tracked. You can define score, rules. We're going to look at rules quickly. Successor field, if there are any parenting, and if there is source data verification required, data review required. Yeah, pretty much anything that you want to, when this field should behave like. You can add data variables which can be assigned to the fields, which can be used for complex calculation, reporting, data analysis later on. There are successor field, as I was showing you. You can obviously add rules, and obviously we can definitely demo how the rules work. It is as comprehensive, as detailed as you can imagine, and very simple to build, by the way. And somebody with no code experience can build this very, very easily. And then obviously we have field level permissions. So we can set up permissions at the field level, determining who can view, edit, or interact with each field. This is vital for maintaining data security and ensuring that only authorized personnel can make changes. Now, for early phase trials, such as phase 1, protocol often evolve rapidly, and the new data becomes available all the time. The ability to manage and version your ECRF is crucial, ensuring that your data collection stays aligned with these updates. This is where I was mentioning that this is where we stand out when it comes to early phase trials for this EDC. Now, this is an example of how the versioning would work, but you can, if I click on this button, I will be in the versioning page. Apologies. Yeah, as you can see, there are multiple versions now available for this particular ECRF. Now there are 4 versions, and you can see the effective date. So we can also have multiple versions active based on the effective date that you select. For example, this is effective from May 9, September 2020, September 19, 23. Now this could be effective from September 2023, and this will go on until I put an effective to date. I can always create a new version. And if there is a protocol change, I can select the new protocol. This is version 1.0, but if there was a new protocol, I would see a version 1.2. And now when I clone this version, it will adhere to protocol version 2.0, which again is imperative in phase 1 trial. So this capability is particularly valuable in adapting to early phase trials, where agility to update forms quickly in response to new findings is often necessary. You can always go back to the builder. Now, let's say I'm in V4, right? And I want to make changes for version 3. You can always select that and go back to the builder and make changes as you need to. Now, this is gonna obviously update any new fields, questions for the new subjects. But what about the existing subjects, right? Even sometimes there are scenarios when even for them, the new protocol has to be implemented, and things have to be added. So we do have something called form versioning, upversion or upgrades. This screen allows you to easily manage those changes by upgrading, or in some cases, downgrading forms across your study. You can select the clinical sites, as you can see, subjects if you want to choose from here. Form data statuses, let's say from V1, I want to upgrade to V2. Now you can see the subjects that come in. I can select that and click on the up or down version based on what I have selected. So this, what it does, it goes and updates the new version for the existing subjects as well. Okay, we have spoken a lot about versioning, versioning. Next, I wanted to talk about forms library. So forms library is a crucial tool for managing all your study forms from across all different trial phases. In early phase trial, where your data collection is intensive and varied, having a centralized repository of forms is essential. Forms library allows you to store, manage, and reuse forms across multiple studies and phases. Whether you need an ECRF, informed consent, or any data capturing form, everything is organized for easy access. And well, as a scenario, as you progress from phase 1 to later phases, this library, as you keep building, becomes even more valuable. The ability to reuse and adapt forms means you can maintain consistency in your data collection method, which is critical for ensuring that your data is comparable and meets regulatory requirements across all phases. Finally, the last thing I wanted to talk about is form export for early phase trial. Now, 1 second, there you go. Now, for early phase trials, it is imperative sometimes to get the data within these forms to your analysis and data science team. This screen allows you to export form data based on specific criteria, such as you can select study, you can select region if applicable, study arms if required, you can select a site, let's say in this case all. You can select subjects, if any, or all, subject visit. You can drill down to that level, forms, statuses, etc. And when you click on download, oh, I have to select a form, sorry. You can select all the forms actually in this case, all statuses, and variable type could be, say, S, for example. When you click on this, this actually downloads all your forms and for you to share it to your data analysis team. And as I scroll on the left, you can see this is the file where all the files for your data analysis is present. Again, this feature is invaluable when you need to quickly export data for interim analysis and share with external stakeholders. Obviously, when you can set this to download at any time that you need to. And this is permission and access managed. So not everybody can download these information and share. So that's something that you're secure with. Well, this brings me to end of the webinar. There's so much more, and I know that we were kind of rushing through multiple features and functionalities, and I would love to sit for a longer time and explain you how each of these work for your specific unique trials need. But that being said, this does bring me to the end of this webinar. To summarize, our EDC is, as you obviously saw, is highly configurable, allowing seamless collaboration with external parties like sites, sponsor, auditors. We do have site portal, investigator portal, which I wanted to show you, but with respect to the time, would love to show you in a separate demo session. And then to come back to what I was saying, the platform is designed to minimize the need for starting over with each study. And thanks to unified single instance architecture, and unified not only for your studies within EDC, but unified for various different processes, for CTMS, for safety, for ETMF within one platform. And in regards to phase 1 trial, every detail counts. Cloudbyz EDC ensures that data is captured accurately, analyzed in real time, and made available for rapid decision making. This not only enhances subject safety, but also accelerates trial process, helping you to move confidently with a success to the next phase for your trial. Thank you for your time today. Please feel free to ask any questions that was not covered in the demo. Let me see the chat quickly. So one of the questions is, how do you manage integration? Well, so as I did speak about it very briefly in the beginning, and I know that this is such a huge topic. Cloudbyz EDC actually leverages the open-ended APIs, and I don't know if I mentioned, but this is built on the fantastic Salesforce platform. And using this open-ended APIs, we facilitate integrations with various third-party systems. Now, we understand that you might not be using our CTMS or our safety all the time, and you might want to take a phased approach. So our system does come with a very open-ended APIs to integrate with any systems out there, provided the other system have an open-ended API as well. It's a two-way relationship, guys. So one more question is, how does your EDC ensures data sharing capability across different departments and stakeholders? Well, yeah, I unfortunately could not get into the portals, which I would have loved to show you guys, but this is where, apart from the dashboards and reports that we show, we do have different portals. For stakeholders, obviously, they have login, they can see different dashboards and reports as per what they need to see and relevant to them and their specific role. But for different for departments or different folks outside outside your organization, we have portals. If you're a CRO, we have sponsor investigator portal. If you're a sponsor, we have CRO and investigator portal. So this is where you can share the data that they need to see based on the requirement. Do I have time for my question? Yes. Oh, this is similar. Can you explain how site portal feature in EDC enhances collaboration between stakeholders? Yeah, so site portal in the EDC acts as a centralized hub where sites can access study information, documents, submit data, and communicate with sponsors and CROs. They get a separate login, so they would not be part of your internal system, obviously. And then you can choose, how they interact and how they interact with the data, and filling in the data within the system basically, and that would come to you real time as well. So the portal makes sure that you as a CRO sponsor get real time visibility into what's happening within the trial. And I guess I can squeeze in one more question. Can we add our own reports in your EDC? Do we have to have an external reporting tool? Is it a lot of work? No, actually, we have an inbuilt report builder, which is user-friendly and does not require any coding skills. I know often we have seen that you have to have your data pulled up into a Tableau or Power BI, etc. With this, it is all in-house. You can create custom reports and dashboard as well by dragging and dropping fields, applying filters, and you can set up your own charts. It's very easy. Would love to walk you through how reports can be built by any end user for that matter. And yeah, this feature is built to empower you to generate insights that you need without the significant time investment and the long wait time with the IT teams. Well, over to you, Megan. I think these are the questions for today.
Thank you, Ved. As we near the end of today's webinar, I just want to thank everyone that spoke and thank you for your participation. Before we close, I want everyone to watch for a follow-up email with a recording of the webinar, additional resources, and information on how to stay connected with our community. You can also check our website for updates on future webinars and events. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Stay curious, stay engaged, and have a great day.